Hi, I'm Steve Barsick-Amstel with High Tech Design Safety. This is the continuation of our SIMI S2 training process. The last 3 videos were about what to expect, timeline, and cost, which were great questions that we'd gotten from the previous videos and from other customers. Now we're going to dive back into the standard and talk about the various sections. In this video, I'm going to go through the first 5 sections of SIMI S2 in a little more depth. Now, the first 5 sections are really what set up the standard. Number 1 is really the purpose of why SIMI S2 was written. I was the task force leader and the chairman of SIMI S2 overarching leading committee, the SIMI Standards EHS Committee for North America, for 10 years. And I've been a participant in that process, oh gosh, maybe 22 years now, 23 years. So I have deep knowledge of the original writing of the standards and the ongoing revisions. I was also part of the drive to reduce the number of revisions to make it more manageable for the industry. Back then we were having revisions quarterly and it was driving everybody crazy. I championed the idea of let's only change this standard every 3 years, but give people insight into what's going to change in the standard. And really the purpose behind SIMI S2 is to make the equipment in the semiconductor fab and related areas safe, reliable, and as a side benefit, more cost effective. And we've seen with all of our clients that if we dig into this process, the equipment obviously becomes safer. However, as a side benefit, you do get increased reliability and increased acceptance of your equipment across the semiconductor industry. Next is the scope, and it really deals with all semiconductor manufacturing equipment and ancillary support equipment. Your individual client will provide you with a list of requirements in their RFQ that'll list SIMI S2 and then any other related standards they want to look at. A lot of them are going to want the equipment CE marked. They're going to want to be sure that you do, if you have toxic chemicals, tracer gas, and other things like that. It's critical that you share with us what that document contains. We want to be sure that we're providing you evaluation and certifications that match what your client is asking for. The limitations section of SIMI S2 talks more about the applicability of the standard. So for example, compliance with SIMI S2 doesn't mean you automatically comply with CE marking, for example. An S2 certificate and compliance doesn't mean you comply with local or national requirements for that same piece of equipment. As a scoping technique, we'll help you understand what those other requirements are and help you get those complete. For example, project I just came in on, we're going to help them get their U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, Center for Diseases and Radiological Health accession numbers for that piece of equipment so that they can import it into the U.S. Similarly, other clients want S2, but they also need CE marking because they're sending the product either to Europe or other countries that accept the CE mark. Other limitations include this is not intended to be, the current standard is not intended to be applied retroactively to equipment that's already in use. And if you do make significant changes to your equipment, the standard suggests that you update to the newest standard. And that's something that we can help you with. Let's say we've already done an S2 or you have a piece of equipment and you're intending on making substantial changes or changing the chemistry or the safety circuitry or something like that. Let us know and we can scope those changes with you. The next section is reference standards and documents. Now, SIMI S2 lists a huge number of reference standards and documents, only a few of which will apply, and in some cases only 1 or 2 sections or a small part of each of those reference documents and standards will apply. SIMI S2, by referencing those, doesn't mean that you have to dig through that whole entire standard and be certified or evaluated to that entire standard, just the required parts. So for example, let's say you have a class 1 laser in your equipment. SIMI-S2 references IEC 60825-1, which is safety for lasers. You really only need to focus on those parts which deal with class 1 lasers. Now, SIMI-S2 uses a lot of specific terminology to the semiconductor industry and to the standard itself. And most of those specific terms are defined in the terminology section. There's a few that aren't, and we're working with the task forces to be sure that each of those terms is clearly defined so that we have a very clear way of proving conformance. That terminology section is very useful to your team if you're new to applying SIMI-S2, or if you have a new section in SIMI-S2 that you haven't worked with before, you can refer back to that terminology section. So if you like this information, please continue to watch the videos. Please like and subscribe, comment below, and contact us. We'd like to help you with your SIMI-S2 needs. Or if you just have a question you want to bounce off us about what you need or what might be next, please contact us. I'm Steve Barsick Amstel with High Tech Design Safety. Thank you.